moderate, reach across the aisle guy in the
his,
fantasy world
base,
in which he runs. So,
you want to do the Phil Mudd one too?
yes, let's do this. This last clip here. I'm not really of two minds about the revocation of the security clearance for Brennan. The bottom line is, it's one thing to have a policy. I sort of feel like these guys should have to go through a new vetting process every, I don't know, year, 6 months, whatever it is, when you have a security clearance. And that vetting process should be, are you working for any corporation or any entity or any foreign government that does any business with the United States? Are you working for any business or corporation or entity that could benefit from things that you might learn with a security clearance? And if you are, then you cannot, your security clearance lapses. That would be a very sound policy, it seems to me. Here is this guy, Paris Denard. He is the guy on CNN who argues in favor of the Trump administration. The best part was there was another video where he's actually going back and forth with Joan Walsh, and he doesn't know how to answer the question, so he gets mad that Joan Walsh has taken over the show, and he's like, I won't answer a question from Joan. I'll answer it only from what's her face, the Campbell, whatever, or whoever it is,
Naomi
the host.
Campbell.
No, not Naomi Campbell. The host.
Anderson Cooper Campbell.
I can't remember her name. And it's
Does
ridiculous.
she ask the same question as Joan?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so
She
great.
goes, Joan can ask questions. You guys are both CNN contributors.
Right.
And he's like, I won't do it. But you should try and pull that one too. It's pretty funny.
He gets real riled up.
He gets very riled up. But here he goes after this guy, Phil Mudd, who was I guess a former CIA guy. And Phil Mudd gets pretty upset and indignant, but he doesn't quite address what Paris Denard is actually the point he's trying to make. But it's interesting to see this back and forth, because I do think for a lot of these guys, the question is like, wait, I'm going to lose something that this is a big, having security clearance, and you go out into the private market, there's value to that, and people monetize it.
A lot of these people that have these security clearances, and this is the secret in the swampy Washington, D.C., they have them and they keep them because it's profitable for them after they leave government. Because if you have a security clearance, especially high-level security clearances, your contracts and your consulting gigs pay you a lot more money because of the access that you have. I hope the president continues to do this, and I hope he adds Omarosa to the list, because if she has a clearance, she too, because of her actions, should have it revoked.
Well, I don't know if I'd put Omarosa in the same category of the 75 people who signed those letters, but Phil Mudd, I imagine you want to react.
Profitable, Paris. When I am requested to sit on an advisory board, let me ask you one question. How much do you think I'm paid to do that at the request of the U.S. government? Give me one answer, and you got 10 seconds. How much?
I'll ask you a question. How much are you paid for your consulting and contracting gig? For being a
I have no
foreign
contracts
official.
with the U.S. government that pay money.
I'm not talking.
Zero.
And this is the thing.
When
I'm not talking
I'm
about what
asked
the
to
federal
offer
government,
advice to the
Phil.
U.S. government,
Phil,
I
let's
get
be
paid
honest.
zero.
Phil, let's be
That's
honest.
it.
I'm not talking about your role with the federal government. I'm talking about the
who are you
contracting
talking about?
gigs that
You
you
talking
get
about
from being
General
a
Hayden?
consultant and a contractor. The consulting firms that they form and that you all get is because you get more money when having a consultant for having the security clearance.
That is
Stop acting
incorrect.
like that doesn't happen.
I have
That's the
zero
truth.
consulting relationships with the U.S. government. Zero.
I'm not talking, Phil, that's a good talking point. I'm not talking about relationships with the government. I'm talking about in the private sector. When you have a security
I
clearance
have
and you
zero
keep it.
relationships with the private sector that involve my security clearance. Zero. I get $0 from consulting companies that deal with the U.S. government. Are we clear?
Well, I will be clear in saying that everybody in Washington, D.C. knows if you don't want to be honest about it, that's on you. But if you have a security clearance and you keep it, you get more money to have it.
We're done. Get out.
Phil,
It's not your show, so I'm
25 years
staying
in
right
the
here.
service, and this is
Don't
the
be
shit
so
I get.
defensive about
Get
this.
out.
Don't be so defensive about this.
Folks,
Your voice is still here. You can still do whatever you
folks,
want.
let's
But
take
the
a beat.
politicalization of the intelligence community under this administration, with the people coming on here every day, tweeting and talking about this administration, you all have made it about politics, not the president.
Let's take a beat here for a second. And Phil, I appreciate your patience because I know it's getting personal here.
Now, this is ridiculous because, first off, it is absolutely the case that access to the U.S. government is sold off all the time. It's absolutely the case that if you have security clearance, you go and that's a pitch to CNN or MSNBC or to Fox News, and that ups your value as a talking head on there. That's absolutely true. It is also true that that is absolutely not the reason why Donald Trump is doing this whatsoever. The idea of instituting a policy so that you cannot monetize your role in the U.S. government is such an anathema to the Trump administration that literally every single person involved in the Trump administration would have to be fired and walk away. If that was the standard, there is no way that is what this is about.
It's a little thing called leverage, Philip.
Okay, you just laid it out perfectly, both the broader problem and the specific reality distortion of Trump. And now can we just take a minute to bask in that middle-aged man meltdown?
He was super mad.
It was funny when he got mad. That is true.
Dude, Phil Med always has those meltdowns. And
It's awesome.
This really is the era of, I forget somebody said it, there's just something about like white dudes in their 50s and 60s just really letting it hang.
Well,
like
he thought he
everything-
could bulldoze him with like a couple dodges that weren't very.
No, the dodges
impressive.
were actually quite noticeable.
But I'll tell you something. It was super impressive on how angry he got about something that he sort of knew. Like,
It's like, don't say that on CNN.
that's a lot of indignant. That's a skill to be able to become that indignant about something you know you're in the wrong about. I think is. You get a cookie for that.
I feel like
one.
I might have too much
Or
shame to
it
ever
means
do
you-
something like
Maybe it just
Best-
means you worked at the CIA.
All right.
Best defense is a good offense, folks.